I think saying it's been disappointing since the All-Star break would be a vast understatement. 6 straight series losses for the Pittsburgh Pirates going into this week's matchup against the Miami Marlins. The last time they won a series was the first series back from the All-Star break against the Cleveland Guardians. And really, it feels like they're starting to run out of time and fall way behind when it comes to the National League wildcard picture. I mean, 5.5 games back as we stand here today, 5 teams that they now need to jump to get back into a playoff spot. And it just 2 weeks ago, it felt like they were getting ready to do something that we haven't seen in over a decade, and that's push to a playoff spot like they did back in 2015. Now, here's the thing. I've seen a lot of people dancing on the grave of the Pittsburgh Pirates saying, well, it's all over. They waited too long, this, that, whatever. It's not over because there is still 5-6 weeks left in the MLB season, and 5.5 games is not an insurmountable hill to climb, but this Pirates team needs to go on a run to be able to make that a reality. Every playoff team seemingly has one. We saw it this year with the Boston Red Sox to a crazy degree with how they were able to win 15 consecutive games and go from last place to becoming a playoff team, or at least holding a playoff spot. But the Pirates have just seemingly not been able to get that magical run of 6, 7, 8 straight wins. The only time that they've won at least 5 games in a row was all the way back in March and April in the second series of the season when they won games 2 and 3 against Cincinnati, and then when they had their 3-game series sweep in the home opener against the Baltimore Orioles. So they have to get that magical 3 series in a row where they're able to string together 8, 9, 10 wins because, well, every playoff team needs it, and that's what they've been missing compared to everybody else in this race. Now, here's the thing. There is a spot in their schedule where you could realistically see them, even the way they're currently playing, have a chance to go on a little bit of a run. And it comes in the first weeks of the month of September. You have a series against the San Francisco Giants at home. You have a series against the Angels at home. And then you have a series against the Chicago White Sox. The Giants are one of the worst teams in the National League. And I understand. We watched the Pirates lose a series to one of the worst teams in the National League last weekend against the New York Mets. But still, you're having a opponent come into town that has struggled and has not been able to play good baseball most of the 2026 season. And then you have 2 American League teams. And I've talked about it on this show before. The Pirates have been very good against the American League. So I look at that stretch as an opportunity for the Pirates to make some serious headway when it comes to the playoff picture. Now, the only problem with this entire thing is you need to have a chance by the time you get there. We still have multiple weeks between now and then when we get to that series. So the Pirates, they need to get back to 500. They need to win series. I mean, they have a couple opportunities here. Some are going to be harder than others, but you look at the series this week against the Marlins, you need to take 2 or 3. The upcoming weekend series against the Boston Red Sox, you need to be able to win that series. A series against the Detroit Tigers, you need to be able to win that series. The Dodgers are going to be tough, regardless of when you play them, regardless of where you play them. But playing them in LA at this time of the year is going to be a tough task, a tall task, if you will. But then you close out the month of August with the San Diego Padres, a team that you're battling for wild card positioning with, and the St. Louis Cardinals, again, a team that you're battling for playoff spots with. You need to be able to take those series, especially the 3 against the teams in the NL wildcard picture, the Cardinals, the Padres, and the Marlins. If they're able to close the gap, currently it stands at 5.5 games. If they're able to close the gap to just 4 games or under, I think that stretch in early September is where you're going to see them have an opportunity to really make some headway. And I think they have the players to do it. Let's be honest, guys. The team on paper is good. I understand that it's not fun to say that right now because they've lost 6 consecutive series, but the way you look at the bullpen, it is much better, miles better than it was before the deadline. The hitting, I believe, can come around. The return of O'Neal Cruz here shortly is going to be a huge boost to that lineup. If you get into the early weeks of September, you'll get Connor Griffin back, and that should help you go on this run where that soft spot in the schedule is in early September. And then there's the starting pitching. To me, that's been the most disappointing thing since the All-Star break. The starting rotation needs to prove why we all expected them to be among the best coming into this MLB season. They have the players. They just need to step up. There is time left, but they are running out of time. They need to start winning series, and then they need to go on that 8, 9, 10-game win streak. It'd be great if they did it in August, and then they could be in a better position going into that soft spot in the schedule. But if they can put themselves within 4 games, I think you could see them make a run for a playoff spot in early September.